When I was in my 9-to-5 job, I was struggling for nothing. I was miserable for nothing. There was nothing that I was working towards anymore that was actually aligned with what I wanted to do with the rest of my life that made this struggle and this pain actually worth it. Now, anytime I'm actually having a rough day or I'm really stressed out with all the work I need to do, I at least know that it's for a purpose. I am building something that I find value in and fulfillment in. I'm creating something that can last generations. I am setting up my future family as well as my current family. I know that I'm not going to be capped out at 65 years old with a measly retirement fund that may not even actually amount to anything after inflation and not really have anything to show for the years and years of time that I put into the corporate world. So that's what the past year of my life has been like. But what am I up to now? Am I still struggling financially? Am I content with how things are? Is it everything I expected it to be? Let's fast forward to today and find out. So 1 year later, where am I at now? What's going on? How am I doing financially? We're going to cover all of that in today's video. So I'm going to start just with an overall update of where I'm at in life and what's changed since last year, July 2021, when I quit my 9-to-5 job. So the main thing that's changed is my mental and physical health. I feel so much better mentally and physically. It's actually crazy when I think back to where I was at and the thoughts I was having just a year ago from today. I'm honestly mind blown that I can change this much in that short amount of time, and it makes me very optimistic for the future and what the rest of my life looks like and the rest of my 20s. I am turning 25 in September, so I'm almost in that midway 20 mark. So it's just a very encouraging thought to see really how much I'm capable of as well. Overall, what has changed? I am now living in Florida. So me and my husband Oliver left Washington, D.C. We left our small apartment. We did downsize bedroom wise. We're in a 1-bedroom now, but we upsized in terms of square footage because things are just a lot larger in Florida. I have really started to prioritize doing things I enjoy and actually wanting to prioritize that. I've completely overhauled my health. I've started working out again and being more active. If you can't tell, I look a lot physically healthier. I feel like my skin has cleared up. I've lost a lot of my stress weight that I gained when I was in my 9-to-5, and I just feel a ton better. I have way more energy. I've officially, I would say, beat my insomnia, which is probably the thing I dealt with the most and struggled with the most when I was in my 9-to-5 and after leaving it. I've gotten a lot more confident with just who I am. I feel like my appreciation for myself and my abilities has skyrocketed, and I just know that everything's gonna be okay. And that is something I didn't have a year ago. I really was struggling with the idea of what next and really just wondering how I was gonna make it through this. I was not very confident in my decision to leave my job. I really felt like I had to rationalize it for other people and explain myself and convince others about why it was the right idea, which I am just so out of that place now. It's crazy. I now am doing a lot of freelance work and a lot of VA work, and I still do some rover cat sitting. I am trying to, in the next 3 months, if you guys didn't watch my 12-week year video, my 12-week year goal or 3-month goal is to completely cut gig work out of my financial situation in my day-to-day life. Although I do love cat sitting because I love cats, but I don't want that to be something I have to do to make ends meet. So that is going to be a huge shift that I'm trying to make in the next 3 months, which I think it's definitely possible. I'm not to the point where I have replaced my 9-to-5 income. So I was making about $3,500 a month, and I also had benefits, and the $3,500 was post-tax how much I was getting paid into my actual bank account. So I'm not to that point by any means, but we'll talk more about the financial aspect in a minute. So that is what I do for work now mainly. I also have started doing more coaching, which is something I really wanted to do when I left my 9-to-5. I had done some coaching before I fully quit my job, and I did enjoy it, but I was very fluctuating on if I wanted to do it or not. I feel like I'm much more solidified in the concept of coaching others, and it's something I am passionate about and want to continue to pursue. So I've been working with a few people here and there, one-on-one, and it is something I want to make a larger part of my daily life and my weekly schedule going forward. So I really want to work with people one-on-one and help them if they're in a position that I was in, or they're in a job that they don't like. I want to help people create a plan financially, as well as mentally, and as well as career-wise, and what they actually want to be doing. That is all part of my main goal, and that's something that's really gotten super clear for me in the past year. In terms of my actual work, I don't do engineering anymore. So that was something that I took quite a bit of time to be able to accept and admit, which was engineering just wasn't for me, at least definitely not transportation engineering. And now I can say with complete certainty that I don't see myself going back to engineering unless I literally have to make money to be able to like feed myself and my family. Besides that, I'm not going to be going back into engineering, not anytime soon. I don't see it in the future at all, and I'm completely okay with that, and I've accepted that. And I've also learned to look at my past and my education as still a very helpful experience that has gotten me to the place I'm at today, and not like a waste or, you know, something I spent time and money on that was unnecessary, or just looking at it like, oh, I just wasted a few years of my life. I don't view it that way anymore, and I feel like I was in that mindset a year ago where I just was like, yeah, I have this degree, now what? Like, do I have to do engineering? Is people gonna look at me as a failure if I don't? I don't feel that way anymore. So that is completely gone as well. So now what my focus is, it's not engineering, it's actually marketing is the main thing I have been doing. Specifically, I like the systems behind marketing and online business. So in a sense, you could call me like an OBM, online business manager, but I'm using the title VA lately because I'm working on like an hourly basis for people. But I feel like I could definitely call myself an OBM and it would be very valid. So I like working on the back end of people's businesses online, helping them build funnels, build email systems, just looking at their marketing as a whole and saying, where are you missing things? What are the bottlenecks here that are causing, you know, your business to break down? What do you need to install to improve your business and improve your marketing strategy? That's kind of where I have been helping out people I've been working with. I've also been doing copywriting and, you know, really flexing my creative muscles a lot more with writing, as well as making YouTube videos and creating graphics and things like that. So I've kind of been all over the place in the marketing realm, but the reality is I want to work with creators, with online creators. I want to be in the creator economy. So that is where I've been trying to like focus the most attention in terms of the work that I'm doing and the work I take on and do on a day-to-day basis. But I am still taking work that is like not my ideal work because I'm still in a spot where financially I need to do that. Our lease ended in March in DC and we knew it was time to go. So we came back down to Florida and we decided to move in with my husband's sister, so my sister and brother-in-law, and we moved in with them for about 2 months. And we basically had like zero expenses in terms of housing, which was our largest expense. So it was a great relief, and it was also around tax season. So we did get a nice fat tax return of $6,000 something, which was awesome because we had just about run out of our savings. My biggest goal of quitting my job was to make the amount I had saved up last until our lease ended in DC, because that was my largest concern, was that we were gonna break our lease or not be able to afford rent. And we did reach that goal. We did move out of DC, make it back to Florida without going into any more debt or having to cash out my retirement fund or any of my investment accounts or anything like that. So that was a great blessing, and all of that money is still safe and secure, and I've not touched it. So that's awesome. So now we're not living with my sister and brother-in-law anymore. We've moved into our own apartment up in Orlando area. So we did get our own place. It is $1,900 a month. I've not done a financial update since we moved here, so I will talk more about like our expenses. And I know I was really big on saying I wanted to pay less in rent when we moved to Florida, and we actually are technically paying more than we were in DC, and we're paying it though. So everything is going really well, and my husband still is not working yet. He is starting work soon though. Don't worry guys, he is getting a job. But things started to really pick up for me when we moved down to Florida. So that's when I really started getting more freelance jobs and really started my VA services more extensively. So In April, I made about $1,500 of my own business income. So that's like a combination of everything I did as well as Rover, but I didn't do any Rover in April, or if I did, it was like one job. So it was not a big amount of the money at all. But $1,500 I feel like was probably the maximum I ever made from any of my work up in DC that I was doing. So yeah, I wasn't really making a lot up there. That was like the top that I made. Down here now, April, I made $1,500. That's when we were living with Oliver's sister and her husband. May, I only made $430, so not a lot of money at all. But June, I made $3,300. So we're getting really close to actually making the amount that I made from my 9-to-5 job. And I have a completely remote, completely flexible schedule, which is amazing. Thus far in July, I don't have it updated in my budget yet, but I have surpassed 3,000. And I don't know exactly the number, but it's probably similar to last month, about $3,000, $3,300. So I'm getting to a really good spot, and there's actually a job, and I'll tell you guys more about this in the future, but I am going to be working as an assistant for an interior designer locally here in Orlando that I met with through Rover. Actually, I was her pet sitter, and we just got to talking, and she needed someone. So I am going to be working in person 1 day a week with her, but she runs her business from home. So I'll be working in her home, and yeah, it's very chill. The rest of it will be remote. I don't even know how much of it will actually be working in her house. So, because I haven't started yet, but I start next week remotely. And then the following week, I'll be going in person once a week. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes, but stay tuned for that. As you can see, I've really figured out kind of my rhythm with talking to people, sharing what I do, and being able to secure these jobs through networking and these different contracts and projects I'm working on. So I'm working with quite a few different clients. If I counted, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6 different clients I'm working with. And that doesn't include YouTube or any of my coaching that I'm doing as well, which is like another source of income. So I have quite a few things going on, and it's a little bit hectic. And then I also have Rover, which I do some, and I'm trying to tone it down, like I said. But I'm basically making $3,000 a month, and I can't say for certain that's going to continue at $3,000 a month. We'll see how this month goes, but yeah, I'm making $3,000 a month. So it feels like we're in a pretty good spot. I'm not as stressed financially, although our expenses have been higher. Number one, because inflation and gas prices and groceries and all of that. And number two, just because we're in our own place and it is a little more expensive, and we're adjusting to the pricing here. So my husband is going to be going back to work full time soon. So once he's back to work, together we're going to be fine. And honestly, if I lived by myself, I would be covering my own expenses fine. If I had a studio apartment and I wasn't paying for 2 people's worth of food and gas and bills and all of that, like, we would be fine. I would be fine, I guess, if I was living alone. So my point is, 1 year later, and I am making enough money to cover my expenses working for myself. It's not consistent. I don't know for certain that every month I'm going to make $3,000, but I have my own freelance gigs that I'm working, and I'm making it work. I'm making ends meet. So yeah, that's a win in my book 1 year later. It's just crazy to see how much can change and how quickly it changes too, because a lot of this has changed very quickly just over the past few months with my freelancing work. So I'm very optimistic, and I know there's a lot of potential for me to get more work if I need to, which is the great thing about freelancing. I know that some of the clients I work with have a large network that I could easily ask for a referral or see if they know anyone, but I'm honestly at my brink of work. Like, I can't really take anything else on. So because of that, I haven't tried to reach out to any of these referrals or anything like that. And if things come to me, I've been accepting them because I'm looking for the new opportunities. This is probably the best, most positive update I've ever had since leaving my job. It can take a year to get to a point where you feel comfortable again. And I really now am at this spot where, and I shared this over on TikTok and Instagram, and I think I shared it on my YouTube too as a short, but there's this concept between time and money, and you have to decide which one you want to prioritize. There's like a balancing act with the two. When you're in your 9 to 5, you usually have plenty of money, and you're trying to balance your time to be able to make something else work, grow your freelance practice, grow your coaching, grow your online business, your social media presence, whatever it is, you're strapped for time. Then you leave your job, now you're strapped for money and you don't have anything, you're trying to grow something from scratch and you're making no money. Then you reach this equilibrium, which is where I feel like I'm at right now, where I'm pretty much strapped for time and money, but it's just about equal, but my stress levels are so much lower than they were when I was at my 9-to-5 because I don't hate what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it and I like the flexibility and I'm working for myself and yeah, I'm just figuring it out as I go and I'm loving it. That's really the biggest update I can give is I am so much happier. And at the end of the day, this isn't about happiness and happiness isn't something that you're gonna just gain from quitting your job. So if that's your goal, it's probably not going to work. But if you've really sat down and considered, why am I miserable in this job? Why do I feel like I need to quit? And your reasoning makes sense to you and you feel like this is the path you're being called to go on, then just do it, because honestly, you're never going to be ready to do it. I was not ready to quit my job when I quit my job. I was bawling my eyes out. I was a mess afterwards for weeks and I was literally just struggling, trying to figure it out, stressing about finances every month, as you guys saw on this channel, and just trying to keep a positive mindset throughout the whole thing. But I could have waited and waited and waited and there never would have been a perfect time. I always would have felt super uncomfortable about the act of actually quitting and super stressed about the concept of making money other ways and super insecure about the fact that now I'm delivering groceries or, pet sitting or whatever that looks like when I'm someone with an engineering degree, as if that matters, which it doesn't, by the way, and don't let anyone tell you differently. But people are always going to judge you. There's always going to be critics in your life, and you just have to learn to shut those voices out and listen to the voice that matters, which is your own. What do you want to be doing? And do you need to quit your job to do it? Then quit your job. If you have money saved up and you're gonna be able to pay your bills and you calculated it out and it feels like it makes sense, then just do it. And if you're not sure how to figure that out, I have a ton of videos on my channel talking about that, how much we saved, going through my expenses every single month and showing you guys how things adjusted after I left my job. But there's a lot of shifts you can make and ways to financially prepare that are not just saving up 20 grand and then not having to work to pay your expenses for 6 months or whatever your expenses are each month. There's so many other opportunities and options that you can take on, like we did, like living with family for a few months. You just got to be creative, and if you really want this, you'll make it work, and I can promise you that. I usually do a burnout update and a financial update, but really I don't have much to add to the burnout piece. Like all of that is for the most part gone. My hair is in much better condition. It's way, way healthier. Like I was saying, I'm much healthier as a person now. I don't have all of those stress symptoms and anxiety symptoms that I had. A lot of that is chilled out. And I think there's a lot that goes along with that. Like it wasn't just quitting my job. Also moving back to Florida was a big help in really decreasing my stress levels and, getting back to equilibrium for myself. But it was just a learning experience of, trial and error and seeing what things worked for me. But yeah, I'm just gonna put all of this in one, leave it as one update. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed the update and the positive spin on all of this that finally I feel like we have. I know that there's so much more to come for me and come for this channel and for my future and what that looks like for my family. Definitely subscribe and stick around because I love having you guys here as support, as well as to be able to share with you just what I'm going through and show you guys the ups and the downs, because it is definitely not all sunshines and rainbows. I definitely have my moments, and I really want to start sharing that more, sharing the downsides of doing this and the struggles that I go through, because there is still quite a lot of them. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing I can say that has helped me over this past year has been doing mindset work and really focusing inward and saying, what do I need to change? I've been reading a lot of books, learning a lot, and just really discovering what I think inside and learning to listen to myself and listen to my inner voice. That has been super important in helping me get through this past year. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys in today's video. If you have any questions just about my journey or about the past year, things that you wanted me to touch on that I didn't, then please leave them down in the comment section and I'll make sure to make another video talking about any of the things that you guys wanted me to touch on more. But that's all I have for you guys in today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.